Hello and welcome to another Cyber Showcase podcast. I am your host today, Miki Podcasting. Brandon couldn't be with us today. He's feeling a little under the weather. It's all good. It's all gravy. We're here to review a couple of things. The first thing we're going to review is the movie The Martian. Now, me and Brandon saw this yesterday. I must say, so far, before I get in too deep into it, it's probably one of my favorite movies that I've seen this year. It's probably Ridley Scott's best movie in the past 10 years. It's really well shot. When you get to see Mars, it's surreal. Like I don't know how much of that was CGI or how much of that was actually shot like somewhere, but it looked really great. The visual effects were amazing. As far as pacing, out of every movie I've seen so far this year, it's pretty cohesive compared to anything I've seen this year. Let's talk about some of the characters. Matt Damon, he did an amazing job in this. I think this is probably by far his best role in years. He was really funny and witty, and you really didn't feel like he was really lonely in that base that he was at on Mars, because he really kept entertaining himself, making those point of view videos and just really pretty much bantering to himself and coming up with intriguing ideas. The supporting cast did a pretty good job as well. We have Jessica Chastain. Hold on, let me bring up the cast. Jessica Chastain playing the commander. We have Jeff Daniels playing Teddy Sanders, who is I believe the kind of the head of this entire mission. We have Kristen Wiig playing a really nice cameo. Michael Pena, which really surprised me. I didn't even know he was in this movie, to be honest. We got Chiwetel Ejiofor, Kate Mara, also Sean Bean. I don't remember seeing anything of him in the trailer. It was a nice surprise. I am one of those people that never read the book, so when I seen this, I went in completely fresh, which is probably great because I've seen people that have read the book. They still said the movie was good, but they still felt like the book had more detail with certain things. Overall, like I said before, I think this movie is amazing. I think I'm not gonna jinx anything, but I think Ridley Scott's getting back on the right foot because recently I've seen Exodus, Gods and Kings. I wasn't really a huge fan of that movie. I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep, and I just turned it off after not even half an hour of the viewing. Prometheus, I'm one of those people that actually enjoyed Prometheus. I felt like there was a lot of intrigue with that movie, and it really felt like a good sci-fi movie. I don't know, it's just my personal opinion. You might think otherwise. I score this movie a 9.5 out of 10. I think this movie was really good. One of the best movies I've seen all year. Definitely looking forward to the movies we have upcoming very soon. It's Oscar season, so I'm sure we're going to get some screeners coming up. Anyways, on to the next thing. We're going to talk about Scream Queens. We got episode 4? Just let me double check. Yes, episode 4. In this episode, you know what? The first couple episodes, like the first 2, I wasn't a big fan of, but then the 3rd episode really changed my mind on the entire series. Hold up, let me change the mic volume on this. It seems to be going nuts today. Sorry if it's really loud, guys. What was this gonna say? Oh yeah. I wasn't really a big fan of the first 2 episodes. I don't know, I just didn't feel the vibe of it, and I finally kind of, I wouldn't say dumb myself down, I kind of have to put myself in that kind of a mindset, and I was a really big fan of this episode, especially the beginning. It was like It was kind of like a parody of when like celebrities and TV shows like going to surprise people. It's like, oh, they send them gifts, but she sends like severed heads and severed limbs and blood. And I thought it was pretty funny. Got a good laugh out of it. I love the way that they're alluding to like a lot of people being the killer in this, which I found really interesting. I love that Jamie Lee Curtis's character is kind of getting shots taken at her because she might be the killer, and she has all these alibis because she is the head of she's the head dean of whatever. And I think out of every character in this entire series, my favorite would probably have to be Chad, just because he's the most random character and he's really horny, and I don't know, he's just a cool dude. He just wants to get laid, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think probably the previous episode was a little bit better than this, in my opinion. As a whole, I didn't like it as much as the previous one, just because the previous one had that crazy scene with the Backstreet Boys song coming out and they're just smashing random stuff, which was really funny. I feel like it was more of like a joke-centric episode, which is fine. A lot of the jokes were pretty funny. Particularly, hold on. The advantages of doing a podcast by yourself. You have your laptop in front of you and all that. Hold on, let me bring up the actors and actresses. Leah Michele, who plays Hester, she had a really good part in this. Really big fan of hers. I didn't watch Glee before, so I don't know what she's like in Glee, but she did a very good job. Her character went completely 360, which is really different, and whatever, it works for me. I understand what the show is kind of trying to do. It's like a Scream vibe, which is cool. Overall, really, really not as good as the last episode, but still pretty good. I give this an 8 out of 10. And the next thing I'm going to review is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. From what I can remember, I've seen this yesterday. From what I can remember, this is a really good episode. We get to finally see what that big obelisk is capable of. They finally get to tap into it somehow. They figure it out. For those listening right now, I spoil a couple of things, so if you haven't seen it, maybe skip ahead to the next thing. They tamper into the obelisk, and Sky uses her powers to somehow awaken it. They bring it to this church or whatever it is that I know the character looks familiar. I think he's from season 1 or season 2, but they locked him up for something. And they tampered into it, and then they sent Fitz into the obelisk, and you find Simmons, which I didn't expect at all. I love it when directors allude to there being like a big crisis, and then it's like, oh, they didn't make it back, and it's like the rubble beside Fitz is like completely flat. You're like, oh man, again. What are they going to do now? And then she comes out of it, and it's like, it's amazing. And it's like, you get that moment in the hospital where she has PTSD, and she goes completely, not crazy, she's holding like a sharp object, so maybe like a Kree or something attacked her. We still don't know what that planet is, which is still pretty cool to me. I like it when they kind of don't know things. And then you get that nice little moment where she puts her head on Fitz's lap. So obviously alluding to a relationship, which is obviously going to happen. I don't know if you guys watch Comic-Con panels when they're on, whenever Fitz and Simmons talk, there's always someone in the audience that's like, Fitzsimmons! They want it to happen. It's obviously going to happen. They've been building it up for like 3 seasons now. It's going to happen. Trying to think what else happened. Oh yeah, the rebranding of Hydra, with formerly known as Agent Ward, rebranding it as his own thing. He wants to become the leader of it. He seeks out the ancestor of Baron von Strucker, his great-great-great-grandson, which is really cool. I didn't expect that. I'm curious to see what they would do with the character, because as of right now, I'm not really a fan of his. He's playing like the typical rich kid that just doesn't appreciate anything with money and stuff. We'll see how it goes. As far as Agent May's arc in this, I was a really big fan of it. I like her as a character. I like that she's kind of building this estranged relationship that she's had previously with her father. I thought that was a really cool aspect. And I can't wait to see her back in action in this. I'm a really big fan of hers. I think she's one of the best characters in this entire series. Yeah, overall, really good episode. I give it a 9 out of 10. And then finally, we have Flash. Season 2, Episode 1 premiere. For those of you who don't know, I am a big fan of DC Comics, and when the show came out, I was really hectic. I was really hesitant to watch it because I didn't think they would be able to pull off a Flash show with all of the budget restraints and stuff and having so many episodes, blah, blah, blah. But overall, it was a really good first season. A lot of stuff happened. I was really a big fan of the Harrison Wells character, Professor Zoom. He did a very good job in that character. I loved Gorilla Grodd. I can't wait to see him in the next season. Very good character. Yeah, and a lot of I like the crossovers too with Arrow. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the show, the crossovers were pretty cool. Even with the Atom and stuff like that, and Firestorm. Anyways, let's get in the episode and blabbering on too much. Episode 1 of Season 2. I like the way they did this, how they kind of... It's like at the beginning of the episode, it's like, oh, you get to see Captain Cold and... I'm sorry, I forgot the other character's name. But it's like... They look so campy, and the way they're acting is like straight out of a comic book. It's like, okay, I don't like this. This is weird. And then they go back to the Star Labs, and Tom Cavanaugh's there as Harrison Wells, and they're giving him props and stuff. It's like when the hell does this take place? This is really freaking weird. And then all of a sudden, it's like him daydreaming, and it's like him, and I think it's like in the middle of Star Labs all by himself. And what you don't realize is he's been working by himself. And they kind of talk about it in the show. They talk about it a lot. He's been working by himself ever since ever since Firestorm, Ronnie Raymond closed the portal or wormhole, whatever it was. He kind of had PTSD, and he didn't want to he didn't want to risk anyone else's life, so he wanted to work by himself, which isn't always great. And he's been basically remodeling the city, everything that's happened ever since then, because there's not much crime going on anymore. It seems like his rogues gallery kind of hasn't been up to anything as of late. And then we have a new villain played by the former WWE star, The Edge, who is the Atom Smasher. Now, some of you who are comic book nerds might think, hey, Atom Smasher is in the Justice League. Why is he a villain? Well, in the Earth 2 version of Atom Smasher, he is a prominent threat to the JLA, the Justice Society. And yeah, I think out of all of the wrestlers in the WWE, The Rock, Edge, Batista, and maybe a couple others, John Cena maybe, like in comedy roles, they do pretty good jobs acting. For those of you who don't know, as much as people say wrestling is fake, it's a lot of choreography and it's a lot of acting skills. If you don't have acting skills, then you're not going to be very lovable and be a B-list character. That's what they're looking for. That's why Edge was so popular, because he knew how to build scenes and come in with entrances and how to become a villain and how to become a hero. So I thought I thought he did a very good job being the villain in this. I was a very big fan. Just a couple of nitpicks in this episode. I felt like the CGI was really lackluster compared to the second season, which was, especially the second half, really well done. Gorilla Grodd was probably one of the best CGI characters I've ever seen on TV, and that's saying a lot. I feel like if they were to do Atom Smasher again, don't have him until you have him, I don't know, second season, because I don't think he's dead, because they don't show him die. I think he just passed out. For big characters like that, if you really want to use them, like, have a big budget. Like, you could tell most of this episode, especially that one scene where Ronnie Raymond goes inside his firestorm. You could I actually laughed out loud. That was clearly CGI, and I hate it when it takes me out of it for a little bit. A couple more scenes when Barry catches what's the guy's name? The guy that combines with Ronnie Raymond to become Firestorm. That really looked fake to me. And when the Atom Smasher becomes big, it looked really fake to me. Especially that one scene where you can see his hands over Barry Allen's face. Like, that thumb doesn't even look like a thumb. It looks like Play-Doh. It looks really bad. I'm just saying, I'm a huge fan of the show, but if you're going with a villain that's you really need a lot of special effects, try to save him for the end of the season like they did Gorilla Grodd, because it's going to look really bad. And at least personally for me, it just took me out of the episode just a little bit. But as an overall performance, I really liked Edge as the Atom Smasher. And I'm glad they didn't allude too much of the season, because I still want to be saved for what's to come. We still got a lot of characters coming, like Wally West. Zoom was alluded to, his name dropped. And we got my favorite part of the entire episode. Waited for it to come, because I think he took a picture of Barry Allen at the very beginning. We got Jay Garrick finally coming. I'm a huge fan of the Earth 2 Flash, also known as Jay Garrick. Can't wait to see this. For those of you who don't know, this entire storyline is going to take place with like Earth 2 characters. So Jay Garrick's from Earth 2, the Atom Smasher's from Earth 2, and apparently this version of Zoom is going to be from Earth 2. And he's bringing people in from his reality into whatever Earth reality Barry Allen is. And it's going to be a crap storm, and I can't wait, because Zoom is probably my favorite Flash. Actually, Aborthon's really good too. I don't know, I just Reverse Flash in general, I think he's a really good villain. Overall, really great episode. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Really excited for this season. I know that's not going to disappoint. Can't wait to see Wally West. Can't wait to see Barry Allen's new love interest. So yeah, for those of you that are wondering why there's no Empire this week, me and Brandon aren't able to do that. We have a lot of school and stuff coming up. Brandon's sick. We're probably going to review 2 episodes of Empire next week. We'll try to make it in like quick times. As far as Limitless goes, we're not going to review anymore, because we feel as though it's not that great. It's been a couple episodes and it just isn't hooking us. So if it's not worth it, we're not going to review it. You know what I mean? This has been a very short podcast, because I don't like rambling on too much, and I got a lot of homework and stuff. Thanks for listening. I'm Miki Kokanovic. We got social media links below for me and Brandon. If you want to suggest a TV show or something, leave a comment down below. Click that like button to support us. Subscribe if you're new. I'm Miki Kokanovic. Until next time, thank you.